Welcome to Herschy and the Keegs Show, starring pitcher Mark Hirschman and his personal catcher, Mike Keegan. Every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. live from the Governor's Comedy Club radio studio. Thanks so much for listening.
A show about nothing. Two morons are talking. They both are really funny.
I think I'm moving on my left ear.
They just go with the flow. It's the Hershey and Keegs Show.
All right, guys, it's Tuesday, 9 p.m. You know what that means. It's time for the Hershey and the Keegs Show.
Did you forget?
I forgot where I was for a second.
I was like, oh, you go. Is how we usually do it.
I don't know what that was.
Are we changing roles?
I don't know where I went there for a minute.
Did you want an invitation?
I think so. I mean,
it goes Colin Cosell, Megan, then Mike.
Then me, and I've missed my cue.
I'm like, was there another thing we added that I missed somehow?
I was waiting for the next thing.
What is the next thing?
You never know what's going to happen week after week. That's how crazy it gets over here.
Maybe we should just do an hour of intros. You don't have to say a thing.
Hey, that would be good.
You can just sit there.
Neither of us has to talk.
No, I'm sure people would enjoy that.
I know. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Take this opportunity, please like and share as much as you can. Spread the word. We're happy to be here with you guys. We love you for joining us. Super awesome show today. As always, I'm Mike Keegan with Mark Hirschman.
Hi, it's me.
And our producer, Sally from the Valley.
Silly Sally, there she is.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, Sally.
She's getting her money's worth today, or we're getting our money's worth of her because she has multiple guests to punch up and figure out the timing and all this stuff and the pomp and circumstance. So Sally is definitely earning her keep this week.
You're welcome.
Not that she doesn't normally earn her keep,
yeah,
but this is an extra earn her keep.
She's
week.
Also the boss anyway, so I think we're earning our keep.
Right,
I don't know.
That's true. That's a good point.
But yeah, we're excited. We have an awesome show today. We have comedian Tammy Pescatelli,
yes,
national headlining comedian,
correct,
who will be headlining right here at Governor's Comedy Club Friday night. So we're happy to have her on to talk about the show and get you guys excited. Get out there and get some tickets. And after Tammy, we have Evan Roberts from Carton and Roberts on WFAN.
Gigantic. Yeah.
Huge.
Gigantic.
I'm super excited about that. I listen every single day.
Shout out to Pig Vomit once again for putting me in contact with Evan and helping us secure that. It's another big get.
Pig Vomit Kleinman came through for us. This is going to be awesome.
So, it's interesting. The plan originally, we'll be honest, we're transparent. We're nothing if we're not transparent.
Nothing at all.
Nothing, period. The plan for this week originally was just Silly Sally, Mike, Mark, and Evan Roberts. And then at some point I had was chatting with Tammy Pescatelli, and it seemed to make sense that we would have her on the same week as she's headlining the club that we're actually sitting in right now.
Yeah.
Logical?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the issue was you don't just call up Evan Roberts and say, we're bumping you.
Exactly.
Because Evan Roberts is a pretty big deal.
Sorry, Ev.
Yeah.
Can't do it this
week.
Sorry,
ER, maybe next week. So we didn't do that. We did a little schedule swapping. We're hoping that from a timing standpoint, this works out splendidly, where we'll do a solid 20 minutes with Tammy and then pop up Ev, and you guys will get 2 bangs for your buck tonight.
Yeah.
So
we got a little bit of everything for everybody. We got the entertainment for our entertainment fans.
Right.
And we got the sports for our sports fans.
Right.
Because like we said, don't pigeonhole us.
I don't want to be pigeonholed.
I don't want to be pigeonholed.
I don't like pigeons or holes.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't like holes?
Well,
I don't like pigeonholes.
Everyone likes holes.
Yeah. I like donut holes.
I don't like pigeonholes. That reminds me of the joke, right? Did you know birds die after they have sex?
I didn't know that.
The one I had sex with did.
Oh, hey-oh. I didn't know Jackie Martling was back. Guess we're losing control of this show again this week, huh?
We are.
Am I allowed to sit here?
No.
Where should you sit?
Go sit on the couch.
Go sit in the closet, okay? Yeah.
No, that's what we said. We're going to bring you a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We delivered once again.
We delivered. We're like dominoes. Yeah,
exactly.
We're on time and we bring the goods.
It's true.
We have a couple of minutes. If there's anything newsworthy that we want to cover. I just came from Max's game. I told you I came from my son's baseball game, and I'll be forthright again. You know, basically last week the coach had said we're going to give Max a shot to pitch, and Max has not played organized baseball in 3 years. He had bailed out, which was a dream crusher for me, but I got past it. He's been very committed to basketball, performing very well, and then about 6 months ago he said, I'm going to play baseball again. So of course
He's like Michael Jordan.
he's Michael Jordan, minus the good genes and the height
And the melanin.
Yeah, and the melons. So he pitched today, and I will tell you that my text to the coach this morning was a typical neurotic Mark Hirschman text.
Oh my! I can imagine when you put that poor.
It was
coach
embarrassing,
through.
and I was honest about it. I said, "Listen, I understand this is not typical, but I explained to him my son's pitching today, and you know I'm a little nervous about it, and you know, can you make sure that he's very alert on the mound for comebackers? Because that's my horror in my mind that this little 3'6" kid against some of these kids who are 6 feet tall, but he didn't protect him. Max faced the heart of the lineup, got pitched 2 innings, he got the game ball
Because you put him on probably like a 35 pitch count.
Yeah, I put him on the pitch count, and we made sure we iced him in between innings with a jacket on.
That's awesome, because I could imagine the minute last week when the coach said he was going to pitch, when your crippling anxiety kicks in.
I haven't slept since then. It's just been a total horror show. Not from a performance standpoint, just because you know it's like your kid up there pitching, and the ball's can be rocketed up there pretty fast. But he was fine.
And the kid delivered the goods.
He delivered the goods. It was fantastic, and you know, usually on Tuesdays I start building some anxiety about the show by 7:15 in the morning. Usually 7. You know, I give myself a chance to wake up for about a half hour. Yeah. But today it was all baseball anxiety, and then Max pitched his 2 innings. The team won, and I enjoyed life for about a solid 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm like, shit.
How thrilled is Max?
He was pretty pumped.
Awesome. Got the game ball, right?
Got the game ball. Stacy took Anna and Max over to Miller's, and I had a
pints for the winning.
Few pints. I had a turkey sandwich from the bodega. You saw me eating as you pulled up. I was eating a
what
turkey.
What the hell is this guy doing in his car? I was thinking you were having like some kind of a mental breakdown in your car. I'm like, why is he sitting in there?
Well, no, I was having a mental breakdown, but usually the deli's open, and the deli was not open next door. Yeah. So I went to the bodega, and they don't really have a very selective choice of cold cuts there. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So I wound up with Spanish manchego cheese with
an olive loaf,
with some sort of olive loaf, and on a panini. So you saw me eating that, so that could have been the mental crisis. But
that's an awesome day, man.
It was cool
from Max.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
You ever see the movie The Parenthood with Steve Martin?
Of course.
I love that movie.
When his son plays baseball and he has a great game. He makes the catch and he dances on the field. That's what I picture Mark doing.
I was pretty proud of the kid. I was excited that he had a good moment in front of his buddies and he got through it. You know, physically fine, and he performed well. And I've asked the coach not to pitch him until at least he's 15.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
I
there's too much stress.
11 maybe when I told my coach that I wanted to pitch.
Yeah.
And he let me pitch after like 6 weeks of me asking. Finally let me pitch and pulls me after a half an inning. It was so bad.
But you did it.
Bad.
You climbed that mountain.
I did it. I climbed the mountain, but I was better off squatting behind the plate. You know?
Yeah.
I was a better wall than a pitcher.
All right, but you did it, and your parents were proud. We know your dad didn't give you a hug, but your mom did.
Dad didn't give me a hug, but I did make the All-Star team in
you certainly did.
1995.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
Yep.
And you made it to the East Meadow World Series. Oh, there's some sort of World Series that you lie about.
You know what they did? When you hit a home run, they write your name on a paper plate and put it up in the clubhouse where they serve the hot dogs. So I had like 3 paper plates up there one year.
Oh, man. That's it.
Yeah.
Very
that
cool.
was my big accomplishment.
So exciting.
Big athletic accomplishment.
Sally, do you have any baseball accomplishments you want to tell us about, or not really?
No? Yeah, the last time I played, we did it was a guy-girl co-ed team.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And I was playing, I was just filling in. So they stuck me in, right field.
Right, of course.
But I'm not bad.
No.
And and it doesn't count anyway, but some guy went to hit, and he hit it all the way into, this big metal pole.
Yeah.
And I caught it behind my back on the.
Wow.
Yeah.
You Willie mazed it? And
Yeah, she totally did. Yeah.
I think it's probably surprising to nobody that Sally is the star athletically of this girl. Right? Exactly.
This is true.
So we will be punching up Tammy Pescatelli any minute. I guess you'll see her on the
Yeah, she'll
on the
come
board.
just to relieve your anxiety. She'll pop up here. So
Why is everybody always worried about my anxiety?
That's all I really
I worry
about.
more about. Yeah, I worry more. I used to worry about my own anxiety, and now
Yeah.
I just worry about Mark.
Yeah, I know. Like the last couple of weeks, like I've showed up like right when the show is about to
Oh,
start.
I wanna murder
Mark,
you.
Mark messaged my girlfriend today to make sure I'm on time. I was here like 40 minutes before the show started.
Yeah, he was here well before I was. And
Yeah.
he was here. You know what it was? I said to him today, I said, listen, it's going to be kind of a tight ship today. Can you make sure you're there by 8:45? He's like, yeah, you probably got to ask Carla. So,
Like, yeah, you better.
so I
better
went.
make sure.
I
So
didn't
you
even
just
hesitate.
went over his head right to Carla.
I didn't even hesitate. I went right to it. I messaged Carla, and she said that that I'm not even with Mike on Tuesdays. That he's usually napping. And then
It is my nap day because Juliana usually has soccer.
Yeah.
And I get to go home and nap.
So
'cause
Carla's been blamed all these weeks.
Yeah, but last week it was kind of her fault because we did go out to dinner before the show.
Yeah.
And then we had to go get gelato.
Yeah,
after.
listen, and generally speaking, I'm fine with anything, but ultimately, I just want to. This week, I really wanted to make sure that all was good. So let's just see here. I'm reading a text. Let's just see. It looks like Tammy is not going to be coming on. Look at this. This is the first time this has ever happened.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
What happened?
You know what? I just saw a text. We're going to talk about it offline, but she did message me that she is not going to be here and probably looks like might not be here this weekend either. So wow! Listen, you tune into the Herschy and the Keegs show.
This is breaking news.
Hold on a second. You turn on to the Herschy and the Keegs shows. You see shit happening live.
Wow.
This is it. So now my anxiety in a very strange way has kind of eased a little bit. As much as I was excited about having Tammy Pescatelli on, now
We get to chat a little more. We're not so.
I'm gonna take my shirt
a
off.
little
I'm gonna
more-
feel
a
a
little
little
more.
more. Yeah.
Well, I hope
So
everything's okay.
listen, it's not like Tammy was booked by another show on the station and feels like this wasn't that important.
This is
you know what I mean?
It's
So
not like she was on the early show.
yeah,
and now
we didn't know that you guys
told
booked her.
We didn't know you guys booked her either. It was like crazy.
Because when Tony said that, she was coming on, like, I've known for like a week, and then we saw that she was your guest. I was like,
yeah.
and then Tony said, I
booked her a
wonder
few
who
weeks
booked her
ago.
first. I go, I can assure you, Mark booked her.
Oh,
first.
yeah.
I go,
6
I don't even
months
need
ago.
to ask.
I booked
Because we
her-
were more like a handful of days before, and I know
Yeah.
that is not you.
no.
But still,
But-
it's
but
I think
she-
it's great because you
so-
and Tony have your show early, and it's
Yeah.
a different.
Yeah, but we don't like to do that. And like he was kind of surprised. He was like, too bad she didn't say something. You'd think you'd say something the same because we would have just been like, take her,
Yeah.
But but it's
Well,
a
you
good thing that
did.
we didn't because we got the interview and
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
And it was a
she
great interview. She's
Yeah,
she's a
I-
great
But we don't like to
interview.
do that. We don't like when one person goes from like show to show to show. It's like
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah, I had booked her in 2011 for tonight.
Tell us give me your like when you get someone, tell me, and then if
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea is to let
Yeah.
the producer know what guests we're gonna have on the
because
show.
I'm a good gatekeeper for everyone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that.
I hate that it was us that had it.
Yeah, we did too. No, I had
You know
booked
Mark
her.
Malusis on next week, do you?
Do you have Mark Malusis? And now
Next
Tony,
week, Brendan?
now Tony's scurrying to find Mark Malusis's email address.
No, we won't. We don't. It bothers Tony more than me. Like he just can't stand when the same guest is all over the place.
I get that on his part, but I think if it's someone that's headlining this club, it's kind of cool because it's gonna have more people see that she's gonna be here and maybe sell some more
Yeah,
tickets.
my hunch is, and again, I'll talk offline about it, but it looks like from the note that she had sent actually probably an hour ago, but I just didn't see it because I was at Max's game, that it has something to do with her weekend this weekend.
Okay.
So you're seeing it live, real. This is the
Real-
world
real
of
time.
comedy right now, right? This is how it goes. Sometimes,
Yeah, and sometimes that happens. That happens,
Yeah.
pretty frequently.
Sometimes things don't go as planned. And
yeah.
right.
So it's okay. We got stuff to talk about. I mean, I wish we would have planned some stuff. No, we have some stuff to talk about.
There's tons of shit going on.
When does the other person come on?
Well, I mean, originally it was 9:40. So
okay.
You'll monitor and see what's going on. Maybe
he'll pop on early.
Or maybe he won't pop on at all.
Maybe he won't pop on either. Exactly.
I mean,
maybe we have no guests and we just lured hundreds of people to watch us for no reason.
It's very funny though.
Talk to each other's fat faces.
So listen, this was the first time in quite a while where me, Mike, and Sally were sitting here together like a half hour before the show, and there was nothing going on. There was no other show previous. Sally wasn't getting a disc ready for Joey Petroni. Yeah, exactly. There was no band here taking out the ukuleles. It was very quiet, and we were like just talking. I'm like, maybe after this run of guests, maybe we'll just kind of do a few episodes, or at least a couple with just us, like we did at the beginning.
Hey, looks like we're inadvertently doing it today.
Looks like we got our wish.
And I'm looking at my arms are very pale. I should have waited a few more weeks before we went short sleeves.
Oh, I always go with the short sleeves to show the ham hocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Show
off your manly tats.
Oh yeah, and I'm thinking of adding something. I'm adding a bad boy.
How many tattoos do you have?
I think I have 8 or. I have one up here. I have on my legs, and I have the kids. I have this one.
But
I have several.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly, but I don't really just have tattoos for haphazard reasons. I have a Yankee tattoo on my leg. I have my Leo tattoo up here. I have the kids. I have my father. This tattoo's for my dad. I have my horse racing tattoo. What?
This is not how we planned the show to go.
What?
It's okay. It's interesting.
Tattoos for half hour.
People like to get to know you guys.
No,
it really isn't a bad thing.
I'm seeing tattoos that I never knew you had either.
I'm going to drop my trousers in a little bit. If Evan Roberts doesn't show up, this is definitely, we're going to get deep into tattoo talk.
You have a Yankee tattoo on your leg, right?
Yeah, I have a Yankee tattoo on my leg. But like I said, I won't, I have friends who, when we were younger, they would just like, we would smoke and drink and go to the tattoo parlor. And one of my buddies, John, he has a tattoo like a swirl through his chest that says "bad to the bone," and there was no reason for an 18-year-old kid from Valley Stream to have a tattoo that said "bad to the bone" on it.
Who are those 4 guys that did that show that they were just, it was like a reality show?
Jackass, those guys?
No,
Practical Jokers.
Yeah.
Oh, when he
do you remember the one that you had to do whatever they told you if you didn't do the thing?
Yeah.
And one of them had to get a tattoo, and he couldn't see it until it was done. And it was what's his face's
Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith.
Will
the picture
Smith's son.
of Will Smith's son forever on his arm or something.
Oh, that's crazy.
I remember when I was in high school or maybe college, two of my friends made a bet, and if one of my friends lost, he had to get "Born to Grill" tattooed on his stomach.
Yeah.
Lost the bet. Got "Born to Grill" tattooed on his stomach.
To grill, like barbecue?
Like barbecue.
Wow.
And that's
phenomenal.
Another friend, when I was graduating high school, the graduating class always goes to Wildwood, New Jersey after prom. So we went there and we're all drunk and whatever. And one of my friends, they had a thing on the boardwalk where they would brand you like cattle.
Oh, nice.
Way.
He got branded on the boardwalk. They had to make a custom brand. He hates New Jersey, so he got the NJ with the no smoking symbol around it, and it took them like 4 hours to make this custom brand and branded him on his leg. And still has it to this day, my friend Jess.
Jess, like a cattle.
Yeah, like a cattle. They branded him.
That must have really hurt.
He screamed. I'll never forget that blood.
How long do they have to keep it on?
They kept it on maybe like 20 seconds.
Aye.
If that, maybe 15, 20 seconds. And then it just...
Well, that's how long they kept it on Raiders of the Lost Ark when the guy got it on his hand.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the guy that got the tattoo on the stomach, certain areas really hurt bad, I would imagine.
Stomach, I would assume, is pretty painful.
I've never done that. Yeah, listen.
I have the one. I just have the one tattoo, and then...
that's enough.
I got it when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
But I do want more. I just never... I
no,
know what I want.
We're gonna do a live tattooing, actually, one episode. It's very interesting. Getting a tattoo could not be more contradictory to who I am as a person. Not because I wouldn't wear tattoos, but just the idea of voluntarily taking a needle and there's blood.
Yeah,
and
because you're not like a man.
Not manly, but I will tell you that you can ask my tattoo artist. Like for the 3 weeks after each tattoo, I am constantly harassing him. Like, is this okay? It's bubbling up a little bit, or this one it's not healing up.
The 3 weeks before and the 3 weeks after. I'm assuming
it really. He's always like, dude, you've had fucking 9 of these. Why? What is your problem? I'm like, is it infected?
Watching every move he makes. Are you supposed to be doing that?
Like getting the actual piece is fine. It's just that the days after, I'm analyzing it. Like, is it supposed to be this red? I don't remember this from last time. No. So I do drive this guy absolutely nuts. But there's something about them that makes me keep on going back. And I'm plotting something up pretty good right now. I will say. Nice. I haven't for a while. I didn't want to go. I wanted to kind of leave the left arm alone and just do the right arm. But I only have 2 forearms. And I think this.
I
next
noticed
piece,
that about you.
Yeah, I think this next piece is forearm worthy. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm gonna.
Is it a tattoo of Tammy Pescatelli?
It's Tammy Pescatelli waving goodbye to our show, and it's saying "I love Knock 'Em Dead" comedy on it. Which it brings up a good point though.
I heard Tony at the end say, for her to say that she had a better time on your show, not to not come on our show.
Yeah, I think she had a solid half hour. Yeah. She's like, I'm going to see these guys in the same fucking studio that I was just on this morning. It's not that important. And hey, listen, you know what? Things happen. Whatever happened with her and her weekend here, I have no idea. Not my business. So we'll move on. It does bring up a good point, though, Mike, that we had talked about. Listen, we're into this now. This is episode, what, number 11? 11.
Yeah.
Certainly I think that we would both like to get some feedback from our regulars as to what do you guys like? Do you guys like the sports guests? Do you guys like the comedy guests? Do you just like us raw? Like us? Do
you like us to give it to you raw?
We want us raw, give
People
it a raw dog.
People are asking to call in. Do you want to open up the phone lines?
Yeah. Why not?
Can we have some involvement with the calls? How do we?
This just freaked him out.
Well, only because there are some crazies that repeat on there. We don't want crazies. Mm-hmm. Listen, everyone's a touch of crazy, but can you give us a couple of ideas as to who wants to call in? Or no, you're just
Carla wants to call in.
Oh, Jesus
fine,
Christ.
She can call in. Fine.
Carla can call in.
Yes, Carla can call in. I don't know how to do that, and neither does Mike.
Just make fun of me for not having Tammy Pescatelli on the show.
Carla Okerson is Mike Keegan's girlfriend, better half.
Carla
comedian.
Actually knew someone who got branded also.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, can't wait to hear about that.
No, I can handle some Carla in my life for sure. She's probably gonna rag on us a little bit
Jeff
now.
Bosey's watching.
Jeff Bosey's watching. Captain Fedora himself. Jeff Bosey, who will be coming on this radio station to do an anniversary show of his.
Him and Rich Rada are doing an anniversary show. That's exciting. Yeah. Does Bosey want to call in? Does Carla? Do you know how to?
They're probably
how
together.
To do that?
They're fucking always together. Weirdly. Now,
how does it work if people want to call in? We've never really tackled that before.
Jeff's definitely sleeping with Carla. By the way.
Well, the phone number's on the screen, and then they
call. Oh my god! That's so exciting. Man, this show is the best. Mm-hmm.
So at least you have your white pad behind the white number.
Just continue on with the show, and then if someone calls, they call.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Do you have any cotton? I can just put a whole,
exactly.
a whole bunch of cotton, and some red I can mix in there.
Can see the number.
That's amazing.
Oh, very professional.
So people, so it's just like calling a number and like they can randomly just call us.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So we have no control over this.
I can have control if you want me to have control.
Well, it's a little late now. You pop the number on the screen.
No, I can still have control. Yeah.
So Carla, if you want to call in, call in. Let's talk.
Carla talks a good game, but I don't think she's actually calling in though. No. Well, so either way, while we're seeing who's going to call in, mm-hmm. I would like for some of our regulars to give us some feedback as to have you guys been liking the guests? I mean, we've obviously had some really good high profile type of people on here. Sports guests, comedy. You want a little bit of a mix. I don't know. I just like to get a little feedback from people as to as to what the story is.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
People like when me and you mix it up a little bit.
Mix it up a little,
maybe
little
2
this
weeks
or that.
Of guests, then me and you mix it up and sprinkle a little Sally in there.
Hey, silly Sally, a little silly Sally salad.
Rich wants to know why you have a picture of pig vomit on your arm.
What? Who said that? Who asked that?
Rich Kleinman.
I don't have a picture of
you
pig
should
vomit.
Though.
Oh, okay.
One of us should.
You know what? If Pig Vomit wanted to call in right now, Pig Vomit, if you want to call in, this would be a good opportunity to do it because we got a little bit of time before Evan comes on.
Talent acquisition manager.
You know what? I would say, because Carl is obviously dropping the ball here, but if PV wants to call in, 516-465-3990, as you can see in that background of white.
Clearly see.
I love this. I love it. So cool. Again,
I gotta put it up here if you want.
Mikey and I hopefully you guys can tell we really enjoy this. We enjoy doing this together. Sally is the peanut butter and jelly to our sandwich. Yep. I don't even know what that means.
She holds us together.
Holds it together,
and she holds the
glue.
Pieces of bread together.
Yeah, she's the fluffernutter.
Oh boy!
Oh my God, this is exciting. Guarantee you, it's a cuckoo bird.
No.
Okay.
We do have a caller coming in.
Welcome, you're on the air.
All right, Sally, it's Pig Vomit. How are you?
There he is! There's my boy! Yeah!
Listen, obviously, I'm the only one who can book guests that show up on this show.
Hey! You know what? Let's make a good point here that Rich Kleiman, a.k.a. PV, a.k.a. Pig Vomit, he had nothing to do with the booking of Tammy Pescatelli. That was all me, and obviously...
I didn't even know who this Tammy Pescatelli even was. I book sports personalities. We don't book comics. I know we're in a comic show and all, but
right.
Let's get sports personalities on here. You want guests, you get Pig Vomit to get you guests.
Yeah, see what happens when we try to go off on our own?
Hey, man, listen, everyone has a job, and I obviously am not good at that one. So,
well, let's see if Evan Roberts shows up. Then we'll...
You know what? But let's just say Evan Roberts doesn't show up.
Hold on. Speaking of which.
What?
Hold on. He's on. Hey, Rich, we're going to let you go, okay?
Pig Vomit. Pig Vomit's going to go. You go to my boy, Evan Roberts.
Yeah.
You want guests, you come to Pig Vomit. Good luck, boys.
Right.
Great.
PV.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Rich.
Give me a second.
Wow.
See.
I'm so glad he got to get on, actually.
Yeah, exactly. That was awesome.
That was really cool.
That's our talent acquisition manager.
And I'm gonna make a confession to Evan when he comes on. I'm gonna be honest with him because I don't think he knows exactly.
Hey, Evan. How are you?
Not only did I come on, I came on early.
Seriously.
Evan Roberts. Hello, sir. How are you?
You see? You told me 9:40. What time is it? 9:20.
It's 9:29. 11 minutes early.
So you're here on the Herschy and the Keegs show. I am Hersh, or Hersh's Valley Stream, as you know me over the years, and my buddy Mike Keegan. We're going to start with a little confession, okay? I don't know if you heard us talking about it a few minutes ago, but we had booked you for this episode, obviously, weeks ago. It's probably a couple of months already that you committed, and you were not going to come on if the Nets were going to be in the playoffs, and we knew by this point that wasn't going to be an option. But what happened in the middle of this was I had also heard from a comic named Tammy Pescatelli, who was supposed to be headlining Governors this weekend. And obviously, we do this show at a Governors Comedy Club, so we felt like it was the right thing to do to get her on the week before. But we didn't want to bump you, obviously, because you're Evan Roberts. So that's why I pushed your time back a little bit. And at 9:15, when Tammy Pescatelli was supposed to come on today, she no-showed us. And she sent me a message that she will not be performing at the club this weekend, and she's not coming on the show. So we have been doing our usual back and forth. But the fact that you are on earlier, we appreciate it. It means the world to us. We do know what a busy guy you are. We know what's going on in your life. And we are very appreciative, Evan, that you came on.
You could have bumped me. I wouldn't have been offended. I would have understood.
Hey, Evan, move a little bit to the left.
I would have accepted it.
We would never want to bump you. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
You listen, man. You know, I'm a sports junkie, and so is Mike, and I've been calling the station forever. We do not. We're not missing out on the significance of you agreeing to come on this show. As I told you, I think we've had the Schmoozer on. We've had Chris Collin on. We've had Anthony Recker on, but certainly you are definitely the piece de resistance so far. And man, we can't thank you enough. So we appreciate it.
I do have one bone to pick.
Pick a bone.
I am fully blaming you for Nestor Cortez getting his no-hitter broken up yesterday.
Oh, stop it.
I was watching the no-hitter, and I logged into Twitter. I don't know if you watched it.
Of course.
But Evan was running around the studio in the 5th inning telling everybody Nestor Cortez was pitching a no-hitter.
Well, I mean...
that was hilarious. It was...
The jinxing of that was certainly not unintentional. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, no.
Evan, because his franchise has not had a no-hitter yet, so he's not...
2, baby! 2!
Well, it's funny. We wanted to talk to you about that. So we both watched the Johan Santana one, and I do consider that an actual no-hitter because there was no replay back then. Yeah. So obviously that was a legit no-hitter. But do you really, truly feel, be honest about it, not because it's a Met thing, but a multiple pitcher no-hitter, do you feel like it's a no-hitter? Do you really?
It's a no-hitter, but it's not that special. I'd be the first to tell you that. Like a combined no-hitter, and there's been a lot of them over the years, and there's going to be only more because of the era we live in.
Yeah,
it's not that special. I'm glad that they got the Johan no-hitter in first because whether people think it's legit or not, I don't give a rat's ass. It is legitimate.
It's 100% legitimate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they had that first. It would have been odd if the first no-hitter in the history of the franchise was a bunch of pitchers combining on it. So it's a no-hitter, but it's not that special. I would agree with that.
It was definitely cool. It was a cool thing to see. It would be very Mets if the Mets' first no-hitter was that game. But no, I mean, we know that the Johan one was legit. And the fact that he threw 652 pitches and basically ended his career that day, you got to give some props to him and to Terry Collins because that would not happen today. There's no way that would still happen.
Well, that's why no-hitters are going to be so hard to come by now. You're going to see more. It's going to be all combined no-hitters.
Yeah, it's you got the Max Scherzers and you got the Clayton Kershaws. There's not many guys who are still conditioned to be able to pitch that many innings. So I think those days are of the past. But well, you got a second no-hitter. Congratulations, and
thank you.
So there's a few things we wanted to cover. First and foremost, you're a Five Towns kid originally. You're a Lawrence High School grad. My mother is a Lawrence High School grad. My father, may he rest in peace, was a Lawrence High School grad. I'm gonna throw a couple of Five Towns landmarks at you and see if you have any recollection of them. Okay, you ready?
Hit me.
If I say the name Mother Kelly's to you, what does that mean to you?
Mother Kelly's, wasn't that was that a deli or something?
It was
like
Italian restaurant right off of Cedarhurst Avenue.
It sounds familiar, but I can't.
Oh my God!
There's another one now. I think in Rockville Center though. My boss
it is. Yeah, it's not the original. What about Sackhoff's Toy Store? Does that sound familiar to you at all?
Sackhoff's Toy Store. Was that on Central Avenue?
Yes. Yeah. There you go. Okay.
There you go. I got one.
Attaboy. And I was going to throw Pies Plus out to you, but you won't remember Pies Plus.
I got nothing on Pies Plus.
So you went from
Mark's old.
The Five Towns. That's right. You're 38, and I'm 38 plus a couple of years. You went from Five Towns to Syosset or Jericho. Where did you go?
Oh no, I went from Five Towns out of town. That was my one and only stop on Long Island. When I moved out, and I was 17 years old, I moved down to D.C. I mean, I really lived in Maryland, but I worked in D.C.
Okay.
And I haven't been back. I've been back to visit, but I've never lived again on Long Island after that.
So you're a Westchester boy now. You don't consider yourself a Long Island boy whatsoever then?
I still consider myself a Queens guy because when I came back to New York, I lived in Brooklyn for a year, and then I lived in Long Island City, Queens for almost a decade.
Yeah.
So even though now I'm suburbanite, I'm Westchester is where my family is now growing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. At least for now, I still consider myself a Queens guy, but that'll probably change soon.
Mike and I were just talking about this before, and he got a kick out of it. Can you give our listeners a little bit of a background about how your radio career started out? I believe as a 10-year-old boy on the Imus show. Is that right?
That was the beginning. Yes, I filled in for Mike Breen because at the time Mike Breen was doing sports on Imus, and I filled in one time on WFAN for Mike Breen doing sports, and that was like the beginning of my radio career. I ended up doing a talk show when I was young for kids, which led me to being in the Howard Stern movie because I thought it would have been kind of a funny bit to audition to be Howard Stern. I did not get the part. I got the part of his friend who then said some inappropriate things, which I will not repeat. Elliot, yes, Elliot.
Right. Mike remembers.
That's right.
I wish I got the part of Howard. He got to play with dolls and have them make love with each other. That would have been a much better role.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't get that one, unfortunately.
So, I mean, the fact that when you were 10 years old and you were on Imus, we've talked about this. We talked about this, but we had Jackie, the joke man, Martling here a couple of weeks ago in studio, and he's obviously good friends with Rob Bartlett. Those Imus days where it was Charles McCord and Lou Rufino and Bernard McGurk. What was it like for you? Did you understand that you were around radio greatness at that time, or you couldn't really appreciate it?
The only time I really appreciated it, I don't remember that much because I was 10 years old. So when you think back at it, how much do you really vividly remember when you were that young?
Yeah.
I remember two things. I remember walking down the hallways of WFAN knowing, holy crap, I'm going to be on the Imus show. And I actually remember afterwards when Imus had me in his office and gave me like almost an inspirational speech in which he said, if you're going to college, kid, don't study radio. It's a waste of time. Just read a lot and write a lot. And I was like, that seems like pretty good advice.
Yeah.
He basically said majoring in communications was a waste of time.
Right.
And I don't know why, but I really vividly remember that. And I think when I was in the office with Imus, that was when I was thinking to myself, even as a 10-year-old, holy crap, this is radio royalty. And so it stuck with me all these years later.
So was there a point early on where you knew that this was going to be your career? Like, did you ever doubt? I mean, the truth is you've been involved since you were young, when you were in college and then soon thereafter. Did you ever even question it, or you just knew this was your path?
I knew it, and I knew my father wanted to be in radio, except he wanted to be a DJ. Very, very different. And I think he had one DJ offered out of college to like be a DJ in North Carolina, but they weren't going to pay him a lot of money. And he said, screw it, I'm just going to become an accountant. I'm going to become a CPA. Okay. I remember him telling me that story as a kid, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to take whatever job I can get. I'm going to work in whatever city I have to work in. I'll get paid whatever it costs, knowing, or at least hoping, eventually one day it'll lead to where I want to be. And I think when I was really young, I wanted to be a baseball announcer. I think that was my first dream.
Yeah.
And then listening to WFAN, growing up to WFAN, listening to Beningo in the overnights, Mike and the Mad Dog, then it became clear, man, I want to talk about sports for a living. So I always kept it in the back of my mind that it's going to be a lot of failure. There's going to be a lot of rejection. There's going to be a lot of jobs in which you make no money, which I experienced younger when I was in my early 20s. And I kind of knew, all right, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that job. I'm going to grind and make no money, and hopefully it works out. And I'm very fortunate that it did.
So isn't it a similar story? Didn't Howard Stern's dad work in the radio business?
He was a radio technician.
Yeah, he was behind the scenes. Yeah.
So it's interesting how your story kind of mirrors him a little bit. The part has always intrigued me that you were listening to Joe Beningo on the overnights, and then he became your partner for 10 years? Was it? Is that right?
It was 07 to 2020. So
Jeez,
wow, 14 full years together. Yeah.
So the fact that happened, was it? I talked to Carlin, Mike and I talked to Carlin about this, how certain things were very surreal as this came to light for him, this career. Was there a point where you were like, I'm on the radio with Joe Beningo for my career?
Dude, the first time I did like a couple of fill-in shows with him back in 2006 before I got the full-time gig. The first time I ever met him, we went out to lunch at the old Cup Diner in Astoria, Queens. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about girls, all right? I'm a 22-year-old kid. He's so are you dating? What's going on here, bro? And I remember sitting there at the Cup Diner thinking, holy crap, Joe Beningo is asking me about my dating life. And then we're bemoaning about the Jets together. So even before we ever did a show together, and was working full time, and I actually said, "Oh my God, Joe's my partner."
Yeah.
That first meeting with him was very, very surreal.
Yeah,
and
the meeting's got to be cool, and then actually
think about
sitting
that, Mike.
there and having a career with him. It's
nuts,
unbelievable.
And he was the greatest dude, man, because he could have very easily been like, who the hell is this 22-year-old kid? Who is this guy? And from the moment I met him, he basically took me under his wing, introduced me to everybody. Yeah. Small gesture, but important gesture. And he was always, just from the beginning, an incredibly nice guy. And that did wonders, man, because it's easy to be intimidated by that, sitting next to him, working with him,
Well, yeah. So, Evan, how much of that humility do you think could be attested to the fact that this was a guy who he was Joe from Saddle River, right? I mean, he used to call in he was a regular caller himself. So how much of that regular guy act that was him? He was just being himself.
I think there were two things that helped me. Number one is that he's just a good guy, good down-to-earth guy. Like you mentioned, he's a caller for many years. Then he's doing overnight. He was a food salesman back in the day. Now he's hosting middays. I think the second thing that really helped is, for whatever reason, we had a Jets-Mets bond.
Right.
I think he looked into my eyes and said, this poor son of a bitch, he has seen nothing. So right. I think that helped out. I think if I was a Yankee Giant fan, maybe he wouldn't have been as nice.
So it's interesting you brought that up, and certainly, in full disclosure, Mike and I are both Yankee fans. Okay, so we've had our day in the sun. Okay, but on top of that, we're both Islander fans. We're both. I'm a Jet fan. He's a Bills fan. But I took a little note here of your teams, and I know you were born. I believe was it '83, Evan? Is that right?
'83, yes.
Okay,
same as me.
So you and Mike graduated from high school the same year, and Mike's going to get to that in a minute. You are a Mets, Isles, Nets, Jets fan. Now, the Jets last won 1969, so you weren't close to that. The Nets, obviously, since the ABA, so you've never seen that. Isles Correct. Last won a championship in '83. You might have been born for a week. I don't really know the timing exactly.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, and then the Mets were '86. You were 2. So very sadly, you're a 38-year-old man, and you've never gotten to enjoy the victory, the sweet smell of victory from one of your teams. And I don't know, man, that's shitty. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's incredibly crappy, but I think what makes it worse is that I don't know if I'll ever see them win a championship. I mean, I had a basketball team that supposedly had a super team. That's what I was told.
Super team.
It's a super team.
Yeah.
They're a lock to win an NBA championship. Meanwhile, they've won one goddamn round.
Yeah. So, dribble, fat.
So mind-bogglingly to think about that. So they're never going to win anything. Let's just be honest. The Nets are winning nothing.
Right.
The Islanders came very, very close, and they are my 4th team. So I think them winning a championship, while it'd be cool, I'd be lying if it was that same kind of specialness.
It's got to be the Mets or the Nets for you. That's it.
Well,
or the Jets. No, the Jets too. Like the Mets, Nets, Jets, those 3 teams. And I've seen them get close. Like I saw the Jets in back-to-back AFC championships.
Yeah, man.
I've seen the Mets in 2 World Series. I've seen the Nets in NBA Finals, but that was a long time ago. Yeah. And I've started to just kind of accept that I don't know if I'm ever going to see it. Even though the Mets are off to a great start and the Jets draft looks amazing, I've accepted that at 38 years old, I'm probably going to see nothing. So, yes, it sucks. But what sucks even more is that I'm not sure I'm ever going to see one of those championships.
Well, I know that you and Craig covered it on the show. What do you think the trajectory is of the Islanders now with the news from this week?
It makes no sense to me. Right? I always hear this crap about we need a new voice. Like the Yankees kind of sold that after the Joe Girardi era, and I guess we could sit here years later and say, was it right or was it wrong? Girardi's a failure in Philadelphia, but the Yankees have won nothing. Barry Trotz is one of the best head coaches in the sport. He's
a Hall of Fame head coach.
I believe single-handedly turned this franchise around when they were the worst defense in the league. He takes over. Their identity is different. Yeah. I know Lou Lamoriello's got a great resume. It's very tough to accept that the main reason for why the Islanders have had their most success in my, remembering lifetime, it's tough to rationalize him being gone.
I know.
So it's just, I know we're supposed to trust Lou because Lou's won so much in New Jersey. That was a freaking long time ago. And he didn't win here. He won in New Jersey.
The thing
he went through coaches like freaking water back then, too.
The thing I love most about Evan is that his reactions on the radio are always of a fan's perspective. So I didn't expect you to react any differently than you did, but I will say that when I heard the news as an Islander fan since 1970-something, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Lamoriello does shit like this. Like, I was not surprised. You were acting like you were blown out of the water shocked.
I was
because
surprised.
You think
How were you
I
not
wasn't
surprised?
Well,
was super shocked.
Well, but how can you be shocked when he's fired Larry Robinson middle season? He's become a coach himself. Guys have won cups. He's fired them the next year. He does some wacky shit. There's no question about it.
I agree. Like, you're right that his resume speaks for itself, but didn't this feel different? Like, did you go into the offseason as bad of a year as the Islanders had this year? And it was bad, and there's a lot of reasons for it, the COVID outbreak, everything.
It was slammed by COVID.
Did you think to yourself they were going to fire him?
I did not think it, but when I heard it, when I saw it on the crawl, I was like, that's around Lamoriello.
And they were playing good hockey at the end, but I mean,
But that's different. Like, I get what you're saying. Yes, if you sit back and think about it, wow, Lou's done a lot of crap like this before. Okay, that makes sense. I agree that, yes, knowing Lou Lamoriello, as we sit here now, okay, maybe we shouldn't be surprised, but you still were surprised.
Yeah, no, I mean,
those are two different things.
The truth is this, though. We don't, obviously, none of us are in the locker room. We don't know what goes on. We don't know if, listen, I agree with what you just said, Evan, about, needing another voice. But the truth is, maybe there was something going on where he had lost the clubhouse a little bit, and it can happen quick.
To the relationship with the young players and maybe getting a shooter come in, and they were so defensive heavy. But I don't know.
Change the pace of the game. Listen, I don't know.
It can work. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Islanders were a complete failure. Look at the Rangers. Despite what's happening in the series against Pittsburgh, they cleaned house with their general manager last year, and that shocked everybody. And I think there was a negative reaction to that decision by James Dolan. As we sit here a year later, even if they bow out the first round, they clearly made significant progress. So I hope I'm wrong. It's just on the surface, it doesn't feel like a good move.
Yeah, on the surface it doesn't, but if you just look at all those times, I know Lamoriello's got to be probably 80 or so, but it just seems like every time he made a wacky move, the Devils were just winning a cup. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I just got to put some faith in the fact that maybe he knows something that, I'm sure he knows something that we don't do, but probably knows a lot of stuff.
I think as a sports fan, here's what we have to do. You react. We're all honest about how we feel. And then 48 hours later, you strap on and say, I hope I'm wrong. And we have to trust leadership. So I do agree that eventually you say, okay, lose the guy. Hopefully he knows what the hell he's doing. But I do think it's natural to have that kind of reaction when a move like that is made.
Especially when I look at my phone and I see the update that they just fired Barry Trotz. And there are some viable candidates out there. I do hope I'm wrong. Maybe they'll get a big goal scorer now, and
who knows? So, Ev, do you think? I mean, looking at the teams right now, you'd have to say that the Mets are the favorite to break the Robert Schneid. Would you agree with that?
I would say so. I mean, I would have said the Mets for the last 3 years because of all the superstars, but
right.
I think because it's baseball season, because the Mets are off to a good start, and like the Mets have given us more pleasure than maybe us Met fans want to admit. I mean, we've seen 2 World Series in our lifetime. It's just that both World Series kind of went the exact same way, blowing a game 1, losing in 5. But yeah, I mean, if I had to rank them, the Jets are a long ways away, even though there's a lot of progress.
Yeah.
So, I think the Mets are clearly the number 1 at this point.
The Mets, listen, are looking good, but you know as well as I do, it's a long baseball season.
Yes.
I think that the one of the blessing in disguises could possibly be that you don't have Jacob deGrom pitching until June or July. Where it worked out the other way last year where he pitched great, then got hurt. Maybe he's hurt, and then he's going to pitch great. And that could be a blessing in disguise. If you have a rotation in the playoffs of Bassett and Scherzer and deGrom, I mean, that could be a lethal combination for the Mets.
That's where the Mets have the edge on everybody, including the Dodgers. If they could somehow have Max and Jake specifically healthy. I mean, you're talking about 2 of the best pitchers in the sport. It's just very tough to be optimistic about that. As much as I love Jake, he has not been healthy in a long time.
Right.
And so, in theory, he comes back in July, great. He isn't overworked going into October, but he's got to get through his starts in July, August, and September. And
right.
Unfortunately, we just haven't seen him be able to do that in a long time.
So touch a little bit. I'm going to throw you a little bit of a softball here. We know, Mike and I, we are wrestling fans, certainly not to the level of you are, but you are a double WWE fan for many years. Have you ever gotten satisfaction out of one of your guys winning a belt at least? Has that felt like something that you're like, yes, I love it. Tito Santana won a belt or whatever it is.
No, not even.
Okay.
Not even close.
Okay, I figured I had to ask him that, right?
I mean, TV show. I mean,
all right.
I grew up loving 90210, and I always wanted Brandon and Kelly to get together. When we got together, I didn't say to myself, "Oh, geez, it's like winning a championship."
You won
You weren't throwing a ticker tape parade for Brandon and Kelly.
You won the Peach Pit Championship. He won. That's amazing. I know, Mike, you wanted to talk to him about the you guys graduated at the same time, and there was an athlete you wanted to talk to Evan about. I know.
Same year, and I remember I played football for East Meadow High School, and we always played Lawrence, and I remember the big stud over at Lawrence was Shane Olivier, who ended up playing for the Chargers, who I just recently found out he passed away 2 months ago.
Passed away a couple months ago, yeah.
Did you know about that, Evan?
I did. When I heard about it, it was like, we all knew about Shane because he was this incredible athlete who had a chance to go to the NFL and ended up playing at Ohio State. Yeah. So I wasn't like friends with him, but we knew of him. We knew of the great athlete that he was. And then once he went to Ohio State and he was drafted by the Chargers, just as a Lawrence alum, you follow him because you root for all the best. And yeah, it was a tragic story. I read about that. I guess it was a month or two ago.
It was exciting for me when he when he went to Ohio, first of all, and then to the Chargers, because I played against him in high school. I was helmet to helmet with him.
Sure.
And the guy beat the shit out of me for 4 quarters, but he...
So what happened? I know you had told me about it the other day. What was the circumstances? Did it come out at all? Or?
They didn't really reveal it, but he had some issues with painkillers. And
okay.
When he was in, playing for the Chargers, but...
How long did he last in the NFL? Was he there for a little bit?
I'd say it was 5 or 6 years, maybe a little bit longer. Right?
Wow,
somewhere around there. Yeah,
he had a good career. I mean, he really did. You know, to go to a big time program like that, like Ohio State, make the NFL, be a starter in the league for a few years. I mean, it sucks, man, because that sport is so physically grueling. And you think about all the snaps he played in high school, in college, in the NFL, and the pain this poor guy must have been through. It's just, it's tragic.
And the guy was a tremendous athlete. So that was
that's shitty. You know, Ev, one of the things I always wanted to ask you, and I've never on the air asked you or on Twitter, but usually when guys reach the level of success that you have, they usually, like, I know Dog, when he first started out, had the show with Mike, and then he would do the Saturday show, but he didn't last. He gave it up at some point. You still go strong with that Saturday show. You're not looking to give that up. You still. I'm curious to know the dynamic. You know, you're a family guy now. You got multiple kids. How come you still go with that show to work 6 days a week like that?
I'll tell you a story. So it was about 3 years ago, and I was up for a new contract at WFAN. And I said to my agent, sure, get me as much money as you can, but there's one thing I'd really, really like if you could pull it off. And at the time, it was very foreign. Now it's not a big deal. I said, can you get them to let me do my Saturday show from home? Because I have kids. I love my wife. She knows I like doing the show, and it's good to do it. It's to branch out, especially now doing the show I do with Craig. It's such a different show. I like to do that geeky sports show for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And if they had said no, I don't know if I would still be doing it. But they allowed me the opportunity to do the show from home, which I kept doing through the pandemic, obviously, where everybody did shows from home.
Yep.
And that's been kind of like the thing that really helped me continue to do it, because I enjoy doing it, especially more so now than even when I was with Joe, because it's such a different kind of show.
Right.
I'm probably going to cut down as time goes on. I don't know if I'm going to do 35 a year, but I still like doing it, and I don't plan on stopping it. But I think the trick of being able to do it at home has been huge, because I don't think I drive to New York City on Saturdays and leave my family at this point in my life. So thank goodness I'm able to do it at home.
Yeah, and I think you'll see as your kids get a little bit older that Saturday morning commitment is going to become more difficult for you to stick to, because your boys are going to be playing ball and stuff like that. But I just always wanted to ask you about that, and the fact that you're doing it at home definitely saves you a couple hours on the commute, and so it makes a lot of sense for sure.
But I love that you're still doing it and enjoying it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I wasn't being critical of him.
As opposed to this,
Mike's like, well, I like it at least. No,
I listen.
I'm always like, why doesn't he give someone else a chance on Saturdays?
Couple chubby comedians from Long Island, give them a chance on Saturday.
Hersh from Valley Stream is due some time, I love myself some Danielle McCartan. Let's get her some Saturday morning. So just give us a little update, because we know Joe was on the air the other day. Is Joe doing okay? Is he happy in retirement? I mean, how's everything going with him these days?
He's the happiest retired guy I know. I mean, you talk about a guy that was ready to retire. He was talking about retirement for 5 years.
Right.
So, and I think it was more for him. It's funny because it's kind of similar to what I was just talking about. He didn't like commuting. It really came to that. He used to tell me every day, I love the job, I hate commuting. And so I think eventually that takes its toll. But I think he was just done. So when I speak to him now, he's usually very happy. He's golfing. He's still watching every Met game, or at least a lot of Met games. Still very passionate about the Jets. But he's very much a happy, retired guy, getting to play as much golf as he wants.
That's terrific. And you'll always have a very strong bond with him, and probably always have a relationship with him, I assume.
Oh, yeah. No, he's a good dude. And I like checking in with him every couple of weeks, especially, to hear his take on things. Like, he doesn't like Jacob deGrom, and that's fascinating to me. And it drives me nuts. Sometimes we yell at each other, but it's always good to hear what Joe is thinking, because sometimes what he's thinking is absolutely insane.
Yeah, definitely. I'm impressed by what you've done here. I mean, the fact is, you went from one co-host. You've been forced to revolutionize yourself. With Craig, obviously a very strong personality with a much different background than Joe Beningo. I just give you a lot of credit, man. I mean, at first I was very skeptical about it, but you guys have really kind of formed a nice niche. And
what a dynamic!
It's amazing. And I don't know, man. How difficult was that transition for you at the time?
What made it easy is that when I was first approached about doing the show with Craig, my first reaction was, why the hell does he want to do a show with me? So I think what made it easy is talking to him and hearing why he thought a show with me would work. Because you're skeptical. You don't think I was skeptical? I mean, I kind of had the same view.
True.
Yeah.
So I think knowing that he had a vision, because he's a great radio guy, and I've always had great respect for what he's done, not just with Boomer, but before that. So right from the top, I have respect for his radio knowledge, and I'm always trying to learn. So when I heard he thought a show with me and him would work, that right from the get-go gave me the confidence of, well, if he believes it could work, then it could work. So The transition's been easy in that it was more, Boomer actually gave me very good advice. He said, just follow along and you'll see. He's a madman, but he knows what he's doing. And I think that piece of advice has always been in the back of my mind. So it's definitely a different show, but I've enjoyed it. And the way I look at it is, I just had to show a different side of my personality. When I was doing a show with Joe, there's certain things that Joe just wouldn't find that interesting or wouldn't work when I'm doing it with him. And then with Craig, it's like the opposite things work. And certain things that I would do with Joe, Craig would roll his eyes and lose interest after 30 seconds. So it's more showing a different side of a personality, which I've learned how to do over the last
I don't know, man. I think that Joe Beningo might have enjoyed Wag Wednesdays a little bit more than you give him credit for.
He would have enjoyed it, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Mike, do you have anything else you want to ask Evan? Otherwise, I'm going to let him go. He's been a gracious guest for us. We really appreciate him helping us out tonight.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming down. Thanks for hanging with us for a little while.
Yeah, man.
Great time.
Terrific. Thanks for coming on early. We really appreciate it. And you can let Joe B know he's got a place here if he wants to come make a visit. You can email me and we'd hook it up. But again, you're a class act. You're a mensch. A guy on your level certainly doesn't need to help out little guys like us. But I guess you remember where you came from, and we appreciate it. Like I said, you're a class act, and we both wish you a lot of success going forward.
I appreciate you inviting me, and I appreciate you guys both understanding that if the Nets were playing a playoff game right now, I was going to have to cancel. That was a very understanding thing of you guys.
I'll be honest, obviously, I never worried about it, Evan. I never worried about it for a second.
That turned out to not be an issue, but
I totally ignored you.
Game to him, like just Use the pen. We don't need the pencil anymore.
He asked me about it. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. This team's the Pits. There's no heart on this team from the beginning. But
I knew. Yeah.
You listen. We're both Yankee fans. At least from my perspective, if the Yankees don't win the championship, I will be rooting for the Mets to do it 100%. For your sake. I think that the radio, it will be radio gold if you can ever celebrate a championship. And I don't mean a WWE Intercontinental title on the air. If that ever happens, it's going to be phenomenal, and I wish you all the best, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Take care. Bye now.
See you later.
Thanks.
Bye. Oh, that was terrific, man.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It's so cool.
Very cool.
It's funny, man, that we you do this show live. We got a little shot of pig vomit today.
Yeah, right. This is awesome, man.
A little shot of pig vomit.
Yeah, a little twists and turns. It was a roller coaster.
Roller coaster. From a production standpoint, I probably should have checked my email an hour before the show.
Yeah.
But I was too busy gnawing on a Spanish ham sandwich in my car.
On a empanada
with a 3-gallon Gatorade that I took off the radio because it was so embarrassing. But you know what? Things happen for a reason. We believe that. And the show was...
Evan came on early.
He came on early. He was great. We were great. Sally, you were great. I don't know. We're right up at 10 o'clock, so I guess, we don't need to kind of push this any further tonight.
Usually I plug the shows at the club, but I don't know what the hell.
We don't know what the hell's going on.
Right?
We're not going to be pushing Tammy Pescatelli on the air for Friday. We don't know if that's happening.
But whatever show is going to be here, it's going to be awesome. Governor's Comedy Club, Brokerage. I'll be at McGuire's Friday at the 10:30 show, the late show. So,
terrific. Okay, good.
Tickets on govs.com. It's Tim Saliani is producing the show, so it should be a lot of fun.
Phenomenal. That's great.
Come out to that.
Okay, good. So next week we are scheduled to have WPIX Channel 11 sportscaster Mark Malusis, also from WFAN fame, from SNY, and a great guy who I've gotten to know over the years. Terrific guy. So we'll have him on. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will.
Who knows?
We have no idea.
We may not have guests from now on.
We have no idea, but listen, guys, keep on supporting this. If you like it, let us know what you like about it. Let us know what you don't like about it, and we're going to keep on trying to make you guys laugh, make you happy, and hopefully we're accomplishing that. And we do ask respectfully that you share this with your friends, tell people about it. Simply share the link on your Facebook pages, Twitter pages. It would be a big help to us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, so that's it. Silly Sally, great job of production as always.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next week. Take care now. Bye.